WOAY has been following the story regarding the National Park Service proposing to demolish historic structures, primarily in Thurmond. They held the second public meeting last night. Mike Teeney has the report.
For 40 years, the park did nothing for commercial row.
That is Lizzie Watts, the former superintendent of the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve. Referencing Commercial Row in Thurmond, she was expressing why some may be skeptical and frustrated with the National Park Service's proposal to tear down historical structures within park boundaries. Tuesday evening at the New River Convention Center, the park held its second public meeting regarding their plans. The first was held way back in January at the Bank of Glen Jean, where the park informed the public it had deemed 19 historic structures, the majority of which are in Thurmond, as potential excess and appropriate for demolition, and invited the public to comment.
So we took all of those comments, consulted with all of those parties, and developed the draft environmental assessment and programmatic agreement. The purpose of this meeting was to communicate that, putting that information out to everybody so that they understand how to comment on it, continue to provide comments to us so that we can utilize those comments to develop the final environmental assessment.
The new draft they compiled with the help of those public comments includes 3 options. Option 1 is to take no action. Option 2, which the Park Service still prefers, is to demolish all 19 structures. Option 3 is to demolish all but 3 structures. Those spared would be the Thurmond Ice House, the Maryland Brown House, and the Dunglen Ark.
The Ice House, again, the only one of its kind, the Maryland Brown House, down on Commercial Row, or at least along the street. And then the Ark, there is a possibility for us to use it for park use. So we would adapt the use.
The buildings along Thurmond's well-known Commercial Row were never slated for demolition, and the park intends to repair the exterior of these buildings.
Our purpose there is to ensure that we don't lose the buildings. It's take care of that exterior envelope, take care of the drainage, the issues that we have behind the buildings, which is taking that water that's running down behind the buildings, ensure that we're taking that away from the buildings and we're not causing additional damage to the structures because of that.
One alternative that gets a lot of attention as a way to preserve some of these buildings is to lease them, which is still an option. However, it would take just the right tenant for this to be viable.
Leasing is not off the table for the structures that will remain. And they're the structures that are in the best condition. I mean, there would be an expectation on the part of the National Park Service that if we leased it to them, that they would make the investment, that they would bring the condition of the structure back up to a condition, a good condition.
The most recent draft that includes the 3 options can be found at the New River Gorge National Park and Preserve's website, which is also where you can still leave a substantive comment until midnight November 8th.
I tell people we spread that money very thinly across everything, and if we can put our focus on the structures that remain and invest in those, I think what we'll see is that we wind up in a better place. We're able to interpret what it meant to live in Thurmond.
In Fayette County, Mike Teeney, Newswatch 4.